through your freedom.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. We are here. We are live on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, why aren't you live on Patreon? It's only $2. $2 a month, 7 cents a day. Now, for all of you who are here live, it's 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. The day, Tuesday. And we are live, folks. Here it is. You best be ready for it because it is all over us. It's on us like white on rice. It's on us like stink on shit. It is shit that hit the fan, and it's all over us, folks. And this is going to be a monologue followed by the Q&A. So get your questions into Jolene. If you're live with us, if you're right here on Patreon, get your questions in. We have a lot to discuss. There is a lot going on. As predicted, we've got some big, powerful things that are going to happen that's going to affect you and your world. You think you're insulated? You think you're protected? You think that they can't touch you? Oh, they're going to reach out and touch you. They're going to AT&T you up against the wall and give you a handful of Biden fingers where you don't want them unless you're fully prepared. And that includes filling your mind with information. I want to give a shout out to Vaughn at Backcountry Preps. He did a great video today. I was just talking with a dear, darling friend the other day about his Popeye's chicken versus Chick-fil-A sandwich comparison. And today he did an In-N-Out burger review. And so it just made me laugh. Anyway, Big Vaughn, good job, buddy. Now to topics a little more prescient, a little more important, a little more important than a quality burger. Believe me, there are some things more important than a quality burger. But you and I have been all over this mess. Coming to you live from Studio B. As predicted, get ready to feel the pain. The European Union, folks, has decided they're going to impose a full embargo on Russian oil next week. Okay, it's like, wait a minute. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to announce it, it happens today. What are they going to give everyone a chance to buy Russian oil this week? And then next week it goes up? Nah, never mind the timing, right? It's like saying mask mandates are over in 6 weeks. I mean, why even say the words? They're letting us know, though, folks. They're telling us exactly what they're doing. Prices are anticipated, according to J.P. Morgan, exclusive bank of the super rich, that I think Brent crude is going to top $185 a barrel. Feel the pain at the gas pump. It's coming. I guess I shouldn't have gone out and bought that new V12 Ford truck that I've been dreaming of. So much for 2 miles to the gallon. No, actually, I didn't go buy a new truck, folks. Not even close. I do have an e-bike and I do have a scooter, and I'll probably be using those a lot more. As you all know, that big green diesel truck, that thing only got 16 miles to the gallon. Anyways, they're going to raise the price. What is this going to do at the pump? It's going to go up. All energy will go up. Everything follows oil. So natural gas, coal, the food you eat, everything is going to go up because of this. It has to, because everything requires energy to create, energy to manufacture, process, energy to move, right? You best be ready for what is coming. I mean, we say it all the time, and I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you're sharing and spreading the word. We are growing, folks. Not only are we growing on Patreon, we're growing on YouTube, despite YouTube trying to hide us. So in this video, I'm going to use very nice, careful words and use my very best polite satire to make the point so that YouTube doesn't try and hide us so much. Can you imagine the words I would use if I was allowed to speak and say the words that I want to say? Unbelievable, folks. They want to silence us, but nope. The Prepared Mind is here to stay, and it's because of you on Patreon That's right. All of you here on Patreon, is because of you that I'm able to keep going. Now, the United States Navy, folks, they came out and they said that 3 sailors, folks, count them, 1, 2, 3, 3 sailors have died aboard the USS George Washington aircraft carrier. In less than 1 week, 3 were found. Now, as you know, these aircraft carriers are absolutely huge. I think they have, 600, 700 people, seamen on that. It's a lot of seamen to be in one vessel. Anyways, 3 people died. Now, the government says, we're not going to provide you with a cause of death. Nope. So the government is hiding facts. They're withholding facts from us. So yes, we all suspect the Jim Jones juice. Once again, folks, the Jim Jones juice overdose. But I have another question for you. You see, the Navy did not provide a cause of death for any of the seamen, the Navy personnel. But the Navy did send a special psychiatric rapid intervention team. That's the SPRIT, SPRIT. They brought on a SPRIT team, the Special Psychiatric Rapid Intervention Team. These teams, folks, are intended to provide short-term mental health support after a traumatic event, such as a loss of life. 3 people died. The Navy won't tell us what it is, but we're supposed to believe it's a traumatic death. Now, the Navy is a part of the Department of Defense. People die in the Navy in times of war. I want to know this. I'm more interested in this. I know it was the jab. I got no doubts about the Jim Jones juice being involved. But here's the bigger question. With war heating up with Russia and China, I think China is a bigger threat for our Navy. Does the Navy have enough rapid intervention teams in case of real war where more than 3 people are going to die and they're not just going to lay on the floor and do the kicking chicken? Are they going to get blown to pieces? People get their partner, their comrades' brains and internal organs blown all over the place. Imagine all the trauma of those who can't tolerate being called by the wrong pronoun in our military. That's probably what happened. It's probably what happened. These 3 people probably were laying on the ground calling for their mother, and people, they couldn't take it because mother is a social construct created to pin women down and make them something bad, I guess. That's trauma, folks. That's trauma. Yeah, folks, they're not quitting. They're not quitting. Now, we're going to talk about Biden. He actually came out and said, well, I guess it's up to the American people if they want to wear masks on airplanes. It's always been our choice. And here's the thing. Whether they have a mandate in place or not, whether they think they have the power or not, it is always up to you and me to decide if we're going to wear that mask. Now, there's a consequence, right? And you best be ready for consequences, folks. Just because someone claims to have authority doesn't mean they actually have the authority. It just means they're going to act as though they have the authority. And if that includes arresting your ass, that's part of it. Be ready for it. You best be ready for what's coming. But in this case, this particular case, the judge down there, federal judge in Florida, of all places, she said no more mask mandates on planes and in airports. So a group of 309 pilots and flight attendants. Why 309? Couldn't they just stop at 300? They had to keep asking more. Right, 309 pilots and flight attendants. I like to call them flight Nazis. They are asking the Court of Appeals to declare the TSA's mask rule illegal permanently. It's the language, folks. I speak English. If something is illegal, it's always illegal. It's already permanently illegal. I don't know how one court can pronounce something illegal and another one can pronounce it just fine. To me, it's a mystery. But if one can say, no, it's completely allowed, we're going to allow this mask mandate then what difference would it make if another court said, no, it is now permanently illegal? It's like they put a force field around it and send it to the sun. I mean, that's really how this works. It's all a bunch of hooey. Instead of asking them to make masks permanently illegal, why not just add the Jim Jones juice mandate? Make that. Why stop at masks? If the mask is a violation, folks, then how much more intrusive and how much more of a violation of a human being's rights is an injection of foreign substance into their body? You see, here on The Prepared Mind, we like to take things to that next level. You're worried about a mask. Well, at least they said that's bad. Well, if that's bad, how much worse is the Jim Jones juice? Unbelievable, right? So, yeah, Biden concedes. The liar Biden concedes and says it's up to Americans as to whether or not they want to wear masks. It should never have been a mandate anywhere, anytime, for any length of time. Why is he conceding now is the question. Why is he giving in? Could it be he is incredibly unpopular? The masks are unpopular. Never mind the facts or the medical facts or the science. The idea that the government concedes it really didn't have the authority it's claimed it's had forever, and now it's just going to give up? Or could it be the elections? They have damage control, folks. Talk about a battleship, right? You got Captain Kirk at the helm, and he's like, damage control, damage control. Scotty, are you there, Scotty? And Bones comes through. Jim, he's dead. There it is, right? Damage control. Well, we got some fine naval terms right there. We had Space Force talk there. How about on the ground in the military? Right now, as you and I are enjoying our freedom, slurping on a Kool-Aid, slurping on a Slurpee, in Donbass, formerly known as Eastern Ukraine, Russia is launching its all-out assault. It's described by the media as no less than hellish. Well, that sounds like war to me. I think bullets are being fired, bombs are exploding, people are screaming for their lives. I have some questions, folks, and you best be ready for this type of event everywhere in the world. I want to ask this, though. Is Putin trying to liberate Donbass of the Ukraine military? That's what they're Russia is not in the Donbass, the Eastern Ukraine, fighting Donbassians. It's almost like dumbassians. Dumbass. Donbass, dumbass. Russia's not fighting dumbassians. Russia is fighting the Ukraine military. So is this the same military that committed atrocities that President Voldemort Zelensky admitted to existing, with his response, quote, "It is what it is," flippantly pushing the question aside? Folks, Eastern Ukraine wants separation from the other Ukraine. Not to join Russia, folks, just to get away from what was happening in Ukraine. The atrocities that were being committed by the Ukraine military on the people of Donbass and other areas. Right? Now, I guess if you think you can be a separatist from any government, think again. So it actually appears that Russia and Putin are liberating Ukraine from just what they said. The military, the government that is illegitimate. Now, it all kind of boils down to freedom, folks. It really does. I preach freedom. I am about freedom and liberty. And what comes with freedom is all rights. Your rights are your freedoms. Freedom of association. The government should not be able to tell you who you can and cannot associate with. They can't force you, right, to associate with someone. Oh, that's why they've come up with social constraints, by the way. So they've got a social credit score, and they can use guilt. That's right, folks, guilt. It's called social governance. right? Environmental and social governments, ESG, as it was brought up in yesterday's broadcast. They want to use social pressure to get people to behave so their social credit score goes up. Otherwise, you can't associate with others. Still, we should have freedom of association to associate with who we want, free from restraint by corporations trying to control your mind. But folks, you best be ready for it, because that's what they're pushing for. Freedom of association, freedom to choose your associations and your associates, right? Governments do not allow free association, right? Kind of like the South in the United States of America in 1860, kind of like Donbass in 2022, right? High governments, we see what you do, right? They push people and push people and push people until people finally push back and say, we don't want to freely associate with you anymore. And then governments say, sorry, you aren't free to associate. You're not free also to dissociate. In other words, you can't leave an abusive marriage. And that's truly what we have in many, many places around the world. Now, I want to give you a little bit of happy joy. This is unbelievable. Once again, Peter Doocy of Fox News. This man deserves a Snickers, a peppermint patty. He deserves a Butterfinger. No, Baby Ruth. What does he do? This guy's awesome. He demands to know when Biden is going to apologize to Border Patrol agents that he falsely accused of whipping migrants and saying they're going to pay for it. Jen Psaki refused to address the question. Oh yeah, folks. Jen Psaki is all over this. She is an incredible liar. Jen Psaki, Raggedy Ann, communist peppermint redhead. She won't answer the question. She says, there is a process and an investigation that's gone through the Department of Homeland Security. I don't have any update on that. Well, then she's lying, because there is an update on it. The investigation found that there was absolutely no wrongdoing. Doocy continued with her, though. He says, quote, you accuse these officers of brutal and inappropriate measures. Now that they've been told they will not be criminally charged, will you apologize? And Peter, there was an investigation into their behavior on that investigation. Is playing out. Where whenever there is, it's going to be announced. The Department of Homeland Security will announce that, and I'm sure we'll have a comment on it after that. It's already been announced. She's pretending like it hasn't been announced. Kind of like we know Cerveza bug is over. We know the pandemic is over. Quit telling us we're in phase 1 of 5 phases of a pandemic. This is not a stinking academic exercise. The teacher is not in charge of the room. We're in charge of our own lives. It's crazy stuff, folks. It's hit the fan. And I'm glad that we are ready for it. Now, in a world that has reality, we feel SHTF. We feel it hitting the fan. We feel the pain. We feel suffering. It's here, right? Now, the government's pretending like there's not a problem with the currency or the economy. There's not a problem with masks or mandates. Oh, there's not a problem. They're not creating problems. Well, in the real world, there's a serious problem, because there's countries out there that want to use reason and logic and intelligence. And Russia is one of those countries that I think is trying to behave normally, under normal rules, not playing with a bunch of lies and misconceptions and unrealities. So Russia's advisor says that Russia must prepare for possible aggressive action. Possible aggressive action from NATO. So here we go, folks. You best be ready for it. Russia is expecting more aggressive action. Now, perhaps this action is going to be feminists in pink hats and commie flag waving Antifa showing up on the front line and chanting slogans at Putin and the Russian army to try and convince them to go away. Right? I mean, really, that's what I am expecting to come out of NATO and the U.S. because, those words are so powerful. Now, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the U.S. government do not have, in my opinion, the balls or the backbone to use direct military attacks on Putin. They've got their military advisors. They have special forces in their training, British, U.S., others. I'm sure Mossad might be involved. Everyone wants to be involved. Everyone wants to be a hero for their masters. Right? But I don't think they're going to attack directly. But trust me, though, if they try it, Putin has a serious retaliatory response at the ready. You best be ready for it if they have an accident or someone launches something, right? And I also believe that they might try and provoke a direct attack out of Russia and then lie about the provocation. But this press release was made public by the Russians, and I believe it is another chess move. Putin is ready for them, folks, if they dare. And if they dare, you best be ready for it along with me. We better, folks. They're promising more. They're going to put the screws to Putin? How? They've already said, we're not going to buy your oil anymore. We're going to do a complete embargo starting next week. Okay. Putin says, fine, then you don't get fertilizer. You don't get oil, natural gas. You don't get coal. You don't get uranium. You don't get processed uranium. You don't get nothing. No enrichment, nothing. Oh, by the way, right? Russia and Ukraine, food, hello. Fertilizer, hello. Nope, folks. They don't want to pay any attention to it, right? It is a complete face palm. No, it's a face meet the pavement move to try and continue to punish Russia. They're fully prepared for the beating, folks. They are ready for it. They've been ready for it. That was why Putin basically said, okay, then, if that's how you want to play, let the ass whipping begin. Unbelievable. And speaking of ass whipping, folks, back to that judge here in the United States of America. She was rated unqualified by the American Bar Association. Catherine Kimball Mizell was appointed by Trump as a federal judge. This one judge, folks, has set the nation free from the mask mandates. Now, if they can't impose with federal power in federal jurisdiction, which is in an airplane and in the air, if they can't impose their will there, then no authority at the federal, state, or local level has any right to impose a mask mandate on anyone, including and especially children. Senseless, perverted mask mandates. Now, back to this judge, folks. Are we in SHTF? You bet. Are we in a social engineering, agenda-driven attack on America? Yeah. The American Bar Association, folks, by the way, a socialist legal organization. It is not a non-denominational, non-partisan, non-profit corporation. No, it's a completely socialist legal organization. They sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee saying that despite her credentials, Mizell's lack of trial experience renders her unqualified to be appointed to the federal judiciary. Why is it then that this judge is making sense to all of America? How can her decision, if she is unqualified, be absolutely spot freaking on? She's unqualified, they say. But Biden is now saying, yeah, I guess she's right. Right? Somehow, folks, the American Bar Association thinks a woman who can't define what a woman is should be on the Supreme Court. One doesn't have to be a doctor or a biologist, folks, to read the definition of what a woman is from a dictionary and understand it. Dictionaries are written in plain, simple English, and the definition of a woman is in there, right? So the judge, now I'm talking about the Supreme Court judge, right? Ketanji Brown Jackson, whatever the hell her name was, she may not agree with the definition because she's a demented and sick judge, but at least define what a woman is according to the rules of the English language, right? Isn't that interesting? They refuse to read something that makes sense. This is exactly why she shouldn't be on the Supreme Court, because the Constitution is cut and dry. Free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The security of a free state requires it. They don't want to read English, folks. They want to redefine the language. You best be ready for more of this stupid. And as for Judge Mizell, good. A win for intelligent thought and a win for freedom. I tell you, I'm going down the line. And I've got a ton of stuff to talk about. Get your questions in to Jolene right now. You can talk about a topic. You can play Stump the John with a lie and a fact. You can talk about a subject, a place, a person, a prediction, past history, future, whatever. Get your questions in. Now, as for the other side, we really need to be ready for it, because the consequences of the evil that has been unleashed will not stop. You can't stop the consequences. The same way those 3 people on the USS George Washington, the consequences, their deaths, were the result of a decision made a long time ago. Their decision to accept the Jim Jones juice, their command's decision to mandate it, the president's decision to mandate it. That's right, President Biden is the one who mandated it. Anyone else who took it voluntarily, it's on you. For everyone that it was mandated to and they made the wrong decision, well, the evil, folks, goes way back to the people that developed the Jim Jones juice, to those who said, let's make sure we put in some deadly stuff. Right? The evil is not going to stop, folks. It is turned loose, and you best be ready for that too. Down in Brazil, again, we've heard so much coming out of Brazil because it's publicized, it's put out there. An 11-year-old girl, folks, was threatened and forced to take cerveza bug Jim Jones juice. 4 days later, she died. It gives me zero pleasure, folks. None at all to report these sorts of things. I just want everyone to understand this is coming for us all. Like, there's going to be people out there who are going to have health issues in the future. They are. You know, there's no way around it. I got more time. I'm going to keep going. Governor DeSantis has a threat, folks, and it's not that you're going to get your Jim Jones juice or else. You got to love this guy. Governor DeSantis has threatened to hold Twitter's board of directors accountable for breaching their fiduciary duty to make money for the shareholders. In other words, Musk is trying to buy the company. He made a 38% higher than market value offer, and the board has denied it. Guess what? That is irresponsible. The shareholders would benefit tremendously from that. Unbelievable. I hope Ron DeSantis prosecutes the living shit out of them, because shareholders are being screwed. You bet, folks. You bet. And Elon Musk, for his part today, he says that when he takes over Twitter, the board will get a salary of $0. So that's, he said, that's a savings of $3 million right there. You know, he's once again, folks, Elon Musk is dragging millions of libtards down the street on a big shiny hook that they can't help but bite, right? He trolls them perfectly. And they can't help but be triggered and jump and get dragged, kicking and screaming like a bunch of little toddlers, right? Elon can own Twitter, and he knows it. He can do whatever he wants with it when he controls it. And that is what terrorizes these liberal fools. They act like they will sacrifice their paychecks to stop him. They'll walk out. But folks, they are faced with losing both their paychecks and their power. And that is what frightens them, folks. The loss of power is the most frightening thing to a totalitarian, to an authoritarian, to these powerful corporations, the loss of their power, their inability to control. Right? Now, you and I, we go to work and we live in our lives, our relationships with our family, with loved ones. It's about cooperation. It's about mutual, beneficial working together, right? That's how it works. I can't demand anything. All I can do is ask, right? But government and these powerful people, they demand and they mandate and they threaten and they coerce. And taking that away from them, they don't know how to behave like a nice person, how to act nice. They don't know how, folks. They really don't. And that's what they're afraid of, losing their power. Let's do this. Let us move on to the Q&A session. And it is your turn to step up into the limelight, folks. I can make you famous if you want, or you can put in a question anonymously. But let's see what you want to talk about on this glorious, glorious 2 for Tuesday. Bam.
Are you ready?
Hey, it's me again. Welcome back, folks. The Prepared Mind channel is just a great place for us to get together and discuss what the hell is going on and how to be prepared for it. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Yeah, that's the recipe for not being hung out to dry 100%. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult. So you best be ready for it, as the title of this video suggests. All right, Jolene, and Jolene is in the house, and she's got a super chat from yesterday's show, Bonnie Blue, with another 1999. And she writes, in 8 years, bass and crappie, these are fish, folks. In 8 years, bass and crappie can grow from fingerlings to 4.5 to 5 pounds in a farm stock pond. Okay. In 8 years, bass can grow that much. That doesn't seem to be a whole lot of weight put on. It takes some time. I think that when we look at that, folks, there's an equation out there, and it's used in agriculture. Let me roll at this topic from this. How much feed do you have to give an animal to get how many pounds of meat out of it? This is why chickens cost less or cost more than pork, which costs more or less than beef, which costs more or less. It's how quickly can our food grow up to harvest size, and how much food, not in pounds and cost, does it take. That's what food costs. Plus, the farmers profit. They get to buy themselves trucks with V12s in them also. If it takes 8 years for bass and crappie to grow from fingerlings to 5-pounders, that's a long time. Let's just say 8 years, 5 pounds. That's less than a pound a year they're putting on. A hog can put on somewhere around 250 pounds in less than a year. Now, they eat a whole lot more, but they get the work done a whole lot faster. Chickens, I think they can go from hatchlings to the fryer even faster. but you don't get as many pounds, but they don't take as many pounds, and that's why we see food pricing. Cattle, they're more expensive because it takes a little longer and takes a little more food, but they're all very efficient. It's important to note this. It takes time, and humanity has figured out which animals go the fastest, this and that. Fish are amazing when it comes to the quality of the protein, the beneficial oils and fats. It takes a long time, though, to get a fish to grow up and do that. So anyways, thank you, Bonnie, for one, the super chat donation, super chat, and two, that information about bass and crappie. A lot of people think when things go bad, I'm just going to go fishing. Everyone can just go fishing, and the sea is not full of fish, right? There's not some magic gatekeeper out there that has a bunch of extra fish waiting for an emergency that we humans make for ourselves. So understand that, folks. Anyways, thank you for that topic. Unusual, but nevertheless, there is a prepper angle on everything. All righty, what else have we got rolling out there, Jolene? We have, look at that, it would be Serge. If losing your tools in a tragic boating accident is too common, or buried in the backyard can be found with a metal detector, how about adding a dummy roof vent pipe in plain sight? What Serge is talking about is strategically placing your self-defense tools. Now, if you bury things in the yard, yeah, metal detectors can find them. A lot of times when you remove soil and you go to replace the soil, it's going to leave a little dent. So if you've got a dent about 36 inches long in the yard, and roughly in the shape of a rifle, it's going to be pretty obvious what that is. So, how do you bury things, right? Well, how hard will they have to try to get the weapons? You see, in my opinion, they're not going to, it might be a good idea to do what you suggest, hiding them in plain sight. A roof vent pipe, typically your roof vents are 2 inches, sometimes they're 1.5 inches, and 3-inch tops. You cannot fit an AR-15 into a 3-inch pipe. Not going to happen. You might be able to fit other long guns in, but once you go from the receiver and barrel down to the stock, typically it exceeds 3 inches, the width of the stock, as well as the offset from where the back of the receiver rolls down to the hand grip. It's just not going to fit. So if they want to do a happy roundup, there's not going to be many agents after day 1 left. They're not going to be wanting to go back to work the day 2 if they survive day 1, because they're going to be met hot in first. I'm not recommending violence or anything harmful or dangerous. I'm just saying that is my prediction. So if we need to continue to hide them, though, at some point, perhaps you need to get a 6 or 8-inch PVC tube, and you glue a cap on one end and a screw-off cap on the other. And instead of burying it lengthwise in the ground, you bury it vertically, straight up and down. It's going to require you digging a post about 4 feet deep with a post hole digger. That's a long way down. And if you've got roots and trees, you got hard pan, that's a lot of work. Anyways, you dig that out and you put that container down in there and you put a nice firm layer of hard pan back on top of it. Now, when the metal detector goes over the top of it, what does it detect? Metal in one small area. They dig it up. Hey, they're going to find a chunk of steel, like a 4 or 5-inch piece of steel pipe, about 2 inches under the top layer. And they go, up, that's what we found. We detected that pipe. Now, once again, the pipe that would be on top of the PVC hidden underneath that layer of dirt, that's a decoy, right? How about this? How about you take 2 dozen, 3 dozen, 4 dozen 4-inch iron pipes and bury them all over your yard, so that if they go through with a metal detector, they're going to find what? They're going to find all of the pipes, and they'll be like, this dude, someone just threw freaking pipes out here all over the place, right? After about the sixth one, they're going to give up. The odds of them finding the pipe that has the actual toy underneath it are pretty slim. It's hard. I mean, this idea of hiding weapons with the technology they have now, heat. I mean, in construction, I've now seen the equipment. It looks like Terminator stuff or Predator stuff, where you look right through the wall and into the wall cavity and look for heat signatures. And you can find water intrusion. Like if there's water running down a wall, if you've got things going in the wall because of the heat signatures. They've got all this stuff. They'll be able to see your rifle, your handgun, your ammunition, whatever it is stored in the walls. When if we get to that kind of level, folks, don't let them come in, right? You're just going to have to meet them at the door the old-fashioned way. That's what's going to end up happening, right? It's almost as if you need to be ready for it. The game is over. We know what they want. They want tyranny. We know what they want. They want authoritarianism. They want total and absolute control over you and whatever wealth you have or whatever wealth you can create by using your brain and your muscles. It's basically showtime. It's all over but the dance, right? Wondering who you're going to ask at the dance, right? Am I going to pick that girl or ask that girl? It's too late for that. It's showtime. We're just waiting for everyone to show up and realize it. It's a foregone conclusion. These people don't like freedom or America. I happen to be in the South, where they got a little different thought about things. If you're in a non-free state, you may want to consider getting out of there, because I think things will be a little more difficult in a non-free state. Whew. Unbelievable, folks. There's more going on than we can see, more going on than we can realize. And the best you and I can do is understand their mentality, the bad guys, and understand they have no love for you or me or anyone. When the only thing that's stopping them is us. Do they have the testicles and the spine to come after us? Well, they're doing it pretty sneaky with the Jim Jones juice. They're doing it pretty sneaky with war, with economic stuff, right? They got the four horsemen turned loose. They got war, famine, and pestilence riding with plague across the earth. They don't have the honesty. They don't have the integrity and courage to stand up, come to your door, knock on it, and say, hey, American, we're here to take all your stuff because we just want to kill you. That's what they want, but they're not honest about it. So they play these games, and this is where we're at. But understand, at some point, they're going to pull it. They're going to go for it. Okay, Jolene, now I'm ready to move on. Enough of my bullshit and stuff. Latin American Preparedness says, Cerveza mandates are going away. China has tightened Cerveza bug mandates, causing starvation and people not getting the essentials. Democrats are scared of the election that's coming up. Could there be another lockdown for the mailed ballot election? See, that's just where we're at. We can predict 3 or 4 different things, and if only one of them comes true, our prediction or our modeling based on predictive analysis still stands. What is going to determine what course of action they take? What is going to determine the course of action they take is our response to what they are saying and doing. So Biden is saying, yeah, you're right. No more mask mandates. If everyone goes away, they're going to be like, whew, that was easy. Let's have one of our elections. They're trustworthy. But if we get to the end of the summer and his poll numbers are still down, and it's looking like the Democrats are going to lose very, very big, they can't have that. Once again, authoritarians, folks, cannot tolerate losing their power. They can't tolerate losing. I don't like losing a hockey match. I don't like it when my team loses a hockey match. I don't like it when I lose a shuffleboard match. I don't like losing a ping pong match, because I have my ping pong pride, right? I don't want to lose. I'm very competitive. Imagine if you're a very super competitive person with all of that power, like Nancy Pelosi, the power to screw over the world. You know, I would use that power to do good things, but she wants to screw over the world, right? Imagine having not just lost the ping pong match, but losing all of that power. These people don't want to give it up. So if it looks like they're going to lose that power, they remove mask mandates. They say, okay, no more Jim Jones juice mandates. And it doesn't have the desired effect. They're not going to win. We could very well end up with another outbreak and pandemic, just like China. And yeah, mail-in ballots, another lockdown, more punishment for the people. You see, what they're doing now is they're being magnanimous. They're pretending to be magnanimous. Yes, it's up to the American people. It's their choice whether or not they want to wear masks on an airplane. Thanks, Joe Biden. I appreciate your honesty and integrity, pal, for coming out and saying that after 2 weeks ago telling America it didn't have a choice. It's because he's a liar. Now, they want to be magnanimous, and our response should be a juicy, wet ass kiss on Biden's left cheek. That's what they want. They want us to thank them and praise them and worship them and kiss their asses. And that would be reflected in the polling data. Sadly, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think America is going to forgive and forget what has gone on. In fact, I believe it's, 15 different states, 12, can't remember the number, a shit pile of states have told Biden, you will reinstate the Keystone Pipeline. People haven't forgotten. They have not forgotten, folks, what this man has done. His first day in, he killed the Keystone Pipeline, killed 100,000 jobs, and destroyed families, lives, and businesses. And then he continued from that point forward again and again and again. Did you know, have you heard, folks, that the strategic oil reserves were opened in order to help America reduce its cost of oil, its cost of gas, its cost of fuel? Well, an entire tanker of your oil has somehow magically gone onto a ship and is being shipped over to Rotterdam in Europe, right? American oil is being shipped. Our strategic reserves that were supposed to help us is now going away. Does the big guy get 10% of that? Do these politicians, is that going to go and help them? Who gets this oil? Who sold it? Who makes the money? Is this the United States government selling our oil to other countries to fund itself? What the hell is going on here? Well, that's Biden for you. I mean, I hate for that to be the answer. Well, that's Biden for you. You best be ready for more because it's coming. Yeah, they could ultimately choose that Chinese model. The, oh my God, outbreak. We don't have time to play games with your stupid freedoms. You know, screw your freedom. As Arnold said, yeah, okay, Arnold. I'm bigger than you, buddy. And I always have been. It's not screw your freedom, folks. It's time to stand up for your freedom. These people are going to try to lock us down again. I have no doubts. It's just when and under what conditions. I mean, they could just say, hey, look, we've got so much Antifa and BLM and other radical social groups out there causing mayhem and chaos that they may have to have curfews. They may have to cancel elections or go to mail-in ballots because of the domestic violence that is occurring as a result of the antagonized and then, how do we say this? That's right, giving aid and comfort to domestic terrorists, like Kamala Harris, vice president, did during the 2020 election or campaign season. They could do that. They could do a combination of cerveza bug and social unrest, riots, burning, looting, and murdering in America to scare people into what? Vote by mail. You just stay in your homes and we'll have someone come by and pick up your letter. Uh-oh, this one has a red check mark in the corner. We better throw that red check mark away. Oh, this one has blue. That has a blue dot. That's a good one. We'll be sure and put it in the envelope with all the other blue dots. They're going to do all they can, folks. States are fighting back, and they need to keep fighting back. Wow. I really like to talk about states that are fighting back. Like states like Ohio and Oklahoma followed suit from their southern, shall we say, cousins in Texas and Florida. The governor of Georgia did something right the other day. The governor of Alabama, she did something right. It's time to take away their power. It's time to stop being afraid of what the media thinks, what Washington, D.C. bureaucrats think, what Washington, D.C. thinks. Who gives a shit? It's time to stop caring what Hollywood thinks or newspapers or the radio or anyone else. I've mentioned him already in this broadcast. I'm going to mention him again because he is out front, folks. Governor Ron DeSantis has announced that he is going to work on ending Disney World's special tax privilege and special legal exemptions in the state of Florida because they wanted to interfere with the people's rights in Florida. They wanted to threaten the Floridian government with lawsuits. Well, right, not only is Governor DeSantis threatening Twitter with criminal prosecution for violation of stockholder protection laws, he is now in the process of drawing up, folks, termination papers for Disney's very special exemptions from Floridian laws. They created, folks, literally they created back in, I think, 1967, 68, a special area. Like they made a special Disney World and let them collect their own taxes and take care of their own infrastructure. It was all part of the deal, right? And then Disney decided that they're going to criticize, that they're going to go after. It's like, well, wait a minute. No one else gets special deals. Why should Disney? Why should Disney be this mega powerful corporation that can lord itself over us? And in fact, Walt Disney's granddaughter or great granddaughter, some idiot named Disney, sat there and said, "This isn't what the American people want. We don't like your don't say gay law." Well, folks, this war is real. Whether we're talking about the war in Donbass or the war for your mind, the psychological war, folks, it is very real. I covered that in the other videos today. This war is real, folks, and freedom should be the result of evolution, not authoritarianism, folks, not top-down, corporate-controlled social constructs, which is exactly what the woke movement is. It is a top-down, corporate-controlled social construct. It is social engineering. They want to destroy America's tradition and cultures. They want to negate our laws. They want to control us through psychological manipulation and lies. So a big FU to Disney and other pedophile grooming Democrats. Oh, and speaking of that, once again, I just can't leave this one alone. Jen Psaki, that's right, the peppermint communist. Raggedy Red Ann, Jen Psaki, White House spokesperson. I don't know what her gender is. Jen Psaki broke down in tears, folks. Said that the anti-groomer laws, the don't say gay laws, to protect children in Florida make her crazy. Seriously, folks, listen to this, please. These people are sick. They're from Planet Bizarro. And they have more power than you and I. They have more authority than you and I. They're in charge of the government. And it's a very precarious position we find ourselves in. The laws, like the one passed in Florida that they call the don't say gay law, but it's actually the parental rights law. It prohibits discussions about sexual identity and gender in school classes with very young children. And the law prevents school officials from transitioning a child's gender without the parent's consent. That's what the law does. It says you can't secretly, behind my back, give my son or daughter puberty blockers or gender transition drugs, right? As a parent, folks, this makes sense to us, right? We've stopped that, or at least the state of Florida did. Hopefully other states follow suit, right? As an American, that law makes sense to me. Looking over at Florida, that makes sense, right? To Democrat pedophile groomers who want to transition children into little sex toys for themselves, it's a reversal from their perverted and evil world and efforts. So Jen Psaki, folks, the Democrat lying POS mouthpiece for Biden, said the laws were, quote, cruel. Florida's law to protect children is cruel, and that it did not represent the majority of Americans' views. What's incredible is that's the same thing that Ms. or Mr. Disney said, is that doesn't represent the majority of Americans. Oh, I believe it does. The majority of Americans need to wake up, right? But for Jen Psaki, what planet is she from? She broke down crying over this, folks, right? No majority in America has that belief. No country on earth has the mentality that we need to transition children to whatever gender they think, which is to pressure them into whatever is between their legs is not what they are. You can't be a boy and not be questioned about your gender. And then if you say, well, I've looked at myself and I've decided I like being a boy, they're going to say, oh, that's bad. How wrong? Toxic masculinity, you son of a bitch. Right? You should be transitioning away as a punishment to yourself for being a boy. Right? These people are in power, folks. They're in power, they're in office, and they don't like us fighting back. We can fight back, but it's going to be a fight, and you best be ready for it. It's a fight across the board. What do we say in the world of prepping? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Have a plan. That's what we talk about. Right? That's our goal. That's our agenda. Be prepared. It's exactly what this fight is over. Food. We've got massive inflation and food shortages coming around the world. I talked about that in depth in the last couple of videos. Right? Water. What are they doing to the water? What are they putting in the water? What are they finding in the water? And can you get that out of your water? Yes, you can. Shelter, clothing. Right? Education is part of being a human. They're trying to destroy that. Your medicine, they're trying to tell you what drugs you have to take, and then they'll tell you what drugs you can't take. They want to give kids gender identity confusion drugs. They want to give them mind control drugs. Have some more ADHD medicine. Well, I don't have any problem. Yes, you do. If you're arguing with a teacher, you've got a mental problem. You need to take their drugs. Don't tell your parents, though. How do we get around? How do we do things? Energy, right? We need heat in the winter. We need cool in the summer. Makes things nice. Refrigeration to keep our food safe. We need good quality, healthy food. What are we getting? We're getting garbage. Eat synthetic, factory-made meat. Eat bugs. That's their solution to the world problems. Take the clot, Jim Jones juice, and we'll see how you do in a couple weeks, couple months, couple years. This is their plan, folks. It's ultimately their plan, right? Energy prices are going to go through the roof. We need energy for transportation, energy for food, energy for our lifestyle. We need energy. And so Joe Biden, the White House, says energy taxes are now needed because there's going to be a green transition. Folks, they're not giving up on this climate crap either. So on top of all the shortages and the record profits for energy companies, through no fault of their own, except that they're supporting Joe Biden, right? It doesn't cost them any more to pull that oil out of the ground, but all of a sudden the oil company has a barrel of oil that instead of being valued at $50 is now going to be valued at $150 or $200. You're telling me there's not a whole lot more profit in there? In other words, it's an artificial shortage and it's causing futures speculators to raise the price. And that's what the price is. That's how they determine the price, folks. I don't like it, but that's what we got. So on top of shortages, folks, and all these profits, the federal government wants to add tax onto consumers, that is you and I. On top of all the other high prices we pay, they want another tax on top of it to pay for their green garbage, folks. So taxes are going to build back better in America. Remember his build back better, the Biden BBB, bigger, better. No, right? They're going to make things worse. Right. And folks, they're saying, well, then you just buy green energy, right? There's no extra carbon taxes. Remember that whole Paris Accord climate treaty crap where there's going to be a carbon tax? Well, he's not calling it a carbon tax. He's calling it an energy tax because energy is so expensive. So yeah, let's tax it some more, make it even more expensive, right? There's no choice. Americans can't switch over to no carbon energy. It's not available. So this is just a flat out tax on poor and middle class Americans to feed the government and its insatiable appetite for more tax money so they can spend it on whatever they want. Right? If you like gas and electricity prices getting higher and higher, right? No one likes that. Keystone Pipeline, they're demanding it, saying Americans need it. Biden administration will not address it. Put more taxes on top of these high energy, you bet. That is a Biden plus. No politician in their right mind, folks, would ever see the economy taking a shit. Energy prices, food prices going through the roof, and then turn around and look at everyone and go, guess what? I'm going to tax the shit out of you now because that'll fix things. Nobody would do that. Biden is being manipulated. He's being controlled, folks. I wanted to end the show with a you best be ready for it bang. He may be the president in name, but he is not making the decisions because nobody, folks, nobody would do that to their people if they gave a shit about the country. This claim that we need to fight Russia, right? He's not fighting Russia. This is a government created problem. This is not a Russia created problem. This is a government created problem. And here they are, folks, standing in front of you saying you're going to pay higher prices and then you're going to pay more taxes. Build back better, my ass. Folks, you best be ready for it. Get prepared now. Do what you can. Because chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed.